Welcome back, everyone. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button before we begin. Tonight's story is one of the darkest legends from the Pacific Northwest. I usually warn people not to listen to these at night, but for this one, it might not matter what time it is. Just make sure your door is locked, your windows are shut, and whatever you do, don't put your ear against any tree. The wind rushes softly through the Oregon forest as if something is already listening. Tonight's tale is called The Whisper Tree. I grew up in a tiny logging town in Oregon, quiet, foggy, and surrounded by woods that swallowed entire neighborhoods during winter. People there didn't scare easily, but everyone avoided the woods behind Pine Creek Middle School, not because of bears or wolves, but because of the massive, ancient tree that stood alone at the center of the clearing. Nobody knew what kind of tree it was. It wasn't pine, wasn't cedar, wasn't anything locals recognized. Its bark was dark, almost black, twisted like veins, and slick even in summer, like it was sweating from the inside. Kids called it the Whisper Tree. Legend was simple. Put your ear to the trunk, wait a few seconds, and it would whisper your future. Sometimes it was harmless. You'll get an A on your math test, or Ruby will say yes to the dance. Stupid kid stuff, but sometimes the tree said something worse. Don't go home today. Don't walk near the river. He won't survive winter. Most kids laughed, but anyone who actually heard a whisper really heard it, never laughed again. I didn't believe any of it. At 13, I thought all the stories were made up to scare new kids. Until the dare happened, one that would tear our group apart forever. There were 4 of us, me, Tyler, Mason, and Jake. We'd been friends since kindergarten, always trying to outdare each other. But Tyler was the bravest or dumbest of us all. Whatever you dared him, he did it without flinching. On October 12th, right after school, he dared all of us to go into the woods and put our ear against the Whisper Tree. Come on. It's just a tree, he grinned. Unless you're scared of bark. Mason shoved him. Shut up, man. Nobody's scared, but Jake was. I could see it on his face. He'd heard the old stories more than any of us because his older brother used to hang out there before he went missing. But none of us mentioned that. We walked through the woods laughing, pushing each other, pretending we weren't nervous. But the deeper we went, the quieter the forest became. Even birds stopped chirping. The air felt heavier, thicker, colder. By the time we reached the clearing, none of us were smiling. The Whisper Tree stood there like it had grown out of a nightmare black. Tall, twisted, with roots like giant fingers clawing through the dirt. Dibs going first, Tyler said. Before any of us could stop him, he pressed his ear against the bark. His breathing slowed, his eyes widened just slightly. Then he stepped back, smirking. It said I'm gonna live a long life, he joked. Guess the rest of you are screwed. He was lying, I knew it. His smile looked stretched, forced, almost scared. Mason went next. Nothing happened. He shrugged. I didn't hear any, then something whispered behind him. He whipped around. Nobody was there. It was just the wind, I told him. But there was no wind. Jake refused to go anywhere near the tree. He shook his head violently. I'm not doing it, my brother. He said he heard something before he disappeared. Tyler rolled his eyes. Your brother ran away, Jake. Stop blaming the damn tree. Then he looked at me. Your turn. My heart hammered, but I didn't back down. I pressed my ear to the tree. At first, nothing. Just my own breathing. The cold bark against my skin, the faint creaking of branches, then soft, faint. Too close. Don't trust the boys with you. I jerked back, stumbling. My whole body went cold. What did it say? Tyler grinned. Nothing, I lied. But the tree wasn't done. A new whisper louder echoed across the clearing. It wasn't meant for me. It was Jake's voice. My heart nearly stopped. It screamed. Stop listening. He's waking up. Jake froze in place. Tyler stopped laughing. Mason dropped his backpack. The tree groaned, deep, like something old and heavy shifting inside its trunk. "Let's go," Jake whispered. "Now." But it was too late. The ground beneath us vibrated. The bark split slightly like breath pushing through a mouth that hadn't opened in centuries. Something inside the tree was moving, and then we heard footsteps behind us. But when we turned around, there was no one there. Only the forest, silent, watching. We ran, tearing through branches, tripping over roots, gasping for breath. I didn't look back not once until we burst out of the woods near the school parking lot, but Jake wasn't with us. He hadn't made it out. The last thing any of us heard was his scream echoing behind the trees. A scream that didn't sound like it came from Jake. It sounded inside him, and then it cut off, just like that. Part 2 begins exactly here. For 30 seconds, none of us spoke. We were too scared to breathe, too scared to turn back. Tyler paced in circles, running his hands through his hair, whispering, He'll come out any second, he has to." But he didn't, and the forest behind us stayed painfully silent. For 30 seconds, none of us spoke. We were too scared to breathe, too scared to turn back. Tyler paced in tight circles, tugging at his hoodie strings, whispering, He'll come out any second, he has to." But he didn't, and the forest behind us stayed painfully silent. Mason swallowed hard. Maybe he went the other way. Maybe he ran toward the creek. "No," I said immediately. No one runs toward the creek in the dark. We all knew why. The water there was deep, fast, and freezing. Kids didn't go near it, even during the day. Tyler grabbed my arm. "We have to go back. We're not going back in there," Mason barked. "Are you insane? He's our friend," Tyler shouted. "We can't just leave him." I wanted to agree. I wanted to run back and grab Jake and tell him it was all just some stupid dare gone wrong. But the memory of that whisper, the one that sounded like Jake's voice screaming from inside the tree, paralyzed me. "Tyler," I said quietly, "something's wrong in there. Something's alive." He stared at me, jaw clenched, then turned toward the woods. "Tyler, don't." But he stepped forward anyway. Before he could take another step, we heard it. A faint rustling between the trees. Slow, heavy, like something dragging itself across the forest floor. Mason backed away. Nope, absolutely not. The rustling grew louder, closer, and then a voice, not Jake's voice. But something wearing Jake's voice, like a mask that didn't fit correctly. It called out, "Guys." My blood turned to ice. Mason whispered, "That's not him." "That's not him, Jake," Tyler shouted. "Where are you?" "Here." The sound came from deep inside the woods, but it wasn't coming from one place. It echoed from multiple directions at once, as if the forest itself was answering, "Come back, I need help." Every instinct in my body screamed at me to run, to get as far from that voice as possible. But Tyler took 2 steps toward the trees. "What if he's hurt?" He said, "What if he's..." Then we all saw it. A shadow moved between the trunks, too tall, too thin. Legs bending wrong, like they didn't know how to walk. The whispering started again, this time from the branches above us. Not words, just breathing. Slow, deep, hungry. Tyler froze mid-step. "He's waking up," something hissed. I grabbed Tyler's wrist and yanked him back. "We're leaving, now." He resisted at first, but then the shadow took one long, unnatural step toward us, its limbs stretching like melting wax. Tyler's resistance disappeared instantly. We ran. This time, it wasn't chaotic like earlier. We ran in absolute silence, terrified that any noise would make the thing behind us move faster. We didn't stop until we were across the road, past the dumpsters, past the school entrance, almost to Mason's house 2 blocks away. Only then did we collapse onto the sidewalk, gasping for air. Tyler slammed his fists against the pavement, choking on sobs. We left him, we left Jake, We just left him there. No, Ty. I said, shaking. Whatever that was, it wasn't Jake anymore. Mason sat with his back against a mailbox, staring into nothing. We can't tell anyone. No one will believe us. They'll think we ran away and left him alone. He's missing, I said. They'll search the woods. Tyler looked up, eyes red. What if they hear the tree? We all knew what he meant. If anyone else put their ear against that bark, if anyone else heard their own voice inside it, something inside the tree might wake up faster. That night, none of us slept. Every creak, every gust of wind, every shifting shadow made us jolt upright. But at 3:14 a.m., something happened that all three of us witnessed at the exact same time. My phone buzzed first, then Tyler's, then Mason's. We had all received the same text message from the same number. Jake's number. 3 words. I hear him. The letters weren't capitalized. There were no periods. Just those 3 words. Like they'd been typed with shaking hands or by something trying to remember how to use them. Tyler dropped his phone. No, this isn't happening. Before anyone could speak, another message arrived. This time, an audio file. Mason grabbed my arm. Don't play it. He didn't need to worry. None of us were going to. But the file began playing on its own. First came static, then the sound of leaves crunching, then a wet dragging noise, slow and rhythmic, like something heavy being pulled through dirt. Then Jake's voice whispered, "Don't come back." We stared at each other, trembling. The audio continued. A deeper voice, old, layered, cracking like wood, splitting growled right into the microphone. He has come home. The file ended. But something else happened, even worse. Someone knocked on Tyler's bedroom window, a slow, deliberate 3-tap knock. Tyler didn't move, couldn't move. We just stared at each other through the phone screens, frozen. The knock came again, this time louder, 3 taps. Then Jake's voice whispered from outside Tyler's window, "Let me in." The hallway was darker now, colder too. Alex felt that same pressure against his ribs, the one that had hit him right before the lights flickered in part 2. He raised his phone again. 1% battery? Of course. He stepped closer to the wooden door that wasn't supposed to be there. The one he saw at the end of part 2 wide frame, old hinges, swollen wood like it had soaked in something thicker than water. The moment he touched the doorknob, the entire house exhaled. A long, low, whispering breath. He froze. The knob felt warm, like a hand holding his. Then thump. Something slammed the door from the other side. Alex staggered back. Another thump. Then a third, violent, animal-like. But then everything went quiet. And a voice whispered from behind the door, "You shouldn't have stayed." Alex's blood ran cold. "Who's there?" he forced out. Silence. Then the knob slowly began to turn on its own. Alex backed away, step by step, but the door creaked open just enough to show a sliver of pure blackness inside. Not darkness, but absence. Like the space inside wasn't a room, but something hollow and endless. A shape shifted inside, tall, then wrong. It stepped forward, and Alex saw its hand first long fingers, nails like cracked bone. His phone vibrated. He looked down. A notification popped up. New message from Alex. His heart stopped. He opened it. It was a picture. A picture of him standing in front of that same door, taken from inside the darkness. Another message buzzed in. "Come in." Alex dropped the phone and ran. He sprinted down the hallway, but the house stretched, each step feeling like he wasn't getting anywhere. Doors on both sides began opening on their own, one by one, revealing darkness inside each one. He yelled, "I didn't mean to come here. I'm leaving." The house answered with a low rumble, like something crawling inside the walls. He turned the corner and stopped cold. The front door was gone. Completely gone. Just a blank wall. Behind him, the wooden door slammed open with explosive force, shaking the whole house. A voice not human, not animal, something ancient whispered, "You entered my story. Now you finish it." A hand wrapped around his shoulder, cold and human. Alex screamed, and the house went silent. Alex couldn't scream anymore. Something cold had closed its fingers around his shoulder, fingers too long, too many joints, bending the wrong way. The hand felt like it had been buried in snow for a century. When Alex turned his head, slowly, trembling, his stomach dropped. There was nothing there. Just the shape of a shadow where a person should have been. A shadow touching him. As he watched, the shadow stretched upward like someone pulling it from the floor. It rose and rose, until it nearly scraped the ceiling. Two hollows formed where eyes should be. They glowed faintly like dying coals. Alex stumbled back, heart pounding so violently it hurt. The shadow tilted its head with a crackling sound, like old floorboards breaking. Then it spoke not through a mouth, but through the walls, the ceiling, the air, everything at once. "You entered a story of a house, but this house is mine." Alex tried to run again, but the hallway bent, literally bent, as if the house twisted itself like a living thing. Every door he passed slammed shut in perfect sequence. Bang, bang, bang. The shadow followed, gliding. Not walking, not floating, just appearing closer every time he blinked. Alex gasped, "What do you want from me?" Silence, then a whisper right in his ear. A witness. Alex didn't understand. A witness to what? He ran into what used to be the living room, but now the furniture was gone. The windows were bricked over. The house smelled like soil, wet, freshly dug soil. The floorboards under him pulled soft, like he was standing on muscle. Something moved beneath them, slithering. His phone buzzed again. He didn't want to look, but he had to. Message from unknown attached. A video his hands shook as he pressed play. It was him, standing in the hallway, minutes ago. Recorded from above, like something crawling on the ceiling had filmed it. Then the camera person turned toward Alex's current location, and the video ended with a distorted voice saying, "Look up." Alex froze. Very slowly, he lifted his head. Two white, skeletal hands dripped down from the ceiling like wet branches. They gripped his face, and a mouth he couldn't see whispered, "Now you see." The ceiling split open like skin tearing, a gaping darkness above him, swirling, breathing. Shapes moved inside it. Faces, arms, people being pulled downward, screaming silently. Their hands reached out for Alex, begging, clawing. He realized this wasn't a house, it was a harvest. The entity didn't kill people, it collected them. The shadow dropped from the ceiling, landing inches away from him without a sound. It leaned in, its empty eye sockets burning a faint, hateful red. And it said, "Your turn." Alex's body lifted off the ground. His legs kicked, trying to find the floor. The swirling darkness above expanded, pulling him upward. He screamed until his throat tore. The last thing he saw was his own reflection in the shadow's eye hollows, already fading, already gone. Then the house went quiet again, waiting for the next visitor. When Miller pulled onto Whitney Road, his GPS glitched. The map flickered, the route recalculated over and over. He muttered, "What the hell?" That was when he saw it, the house. A dark, hulking shape at the end of the road. But something about it looked older than the land itself, like it had been here before the town, before the state, before people. A low, creaking sound echoed softly, almost rhythmic, like breathing. Miller approached the porch and felt the boards vibrating under his boots. He knocked. The door opened by itself. The smell hit instantly. Rot, soil, something ancient. The deputy lifted his flashlight slowly. "Alex," he called. "Son, you here?" Silence. Then footsteps, soft, dragging, coming from deeper inside the house. "Hello?" Miller whispered. The footsteps stopped inches behind him. He spun around, nothing. But when he lifted the beam of his flashlight, there were muddy footprints on the floor. And they were fresh. His radio crackled suddenly. "Ayler, you copy?" "Your break signals DY." But the voice wasn't the dispatcher, it was a whisper. A whisper he somehow recognized. "He's waking up." Miller froze. That was Alex's voice. A shiver traveled up the deputy's neck as something cold brushed against his sleeve. He aimed the flashlight upward. The ceiling pulsed, like a living membrane stretched over something moving inside. He stumbled backward. His boot hit something solid. A box, old, crumbling, tied with a rope as brittle as bone. Against his better judgment, he lifted the lid. Inside were newspaper clippings, yellowed, brittle. All of them about the same thing: missing families, missing neighbors, missing entire blocks of people, all around Oregon. One article from 1893 read, "Witness describes a sleeping giant beneath the earth. Says the houses feed it in exchange for protection." Another from 1914, "Town swallowed in one night. Only empty land remains." And the last one, dated 1979, "Authorities investigate rumor of a house that appears only to those it chooses." A photo was attached. Miller felt his breath leave his lungs. It was this house. But behind it, barely visible, was a shape, a massive outline under the ground. Like something huge was curled beneath the soil, something alive. The house was never a house. The walls groaned behind him. Boards shifted. The floor bulged, as if pressure was pushing upward. A whisper rippled through the entire building. "Witness." Miller stumbled away. The wooden boards split open behind him, revealing dark, wet earth beneath, pulsing, breathing. And then he saw them. Dozens of faces in the soil. Eyes half open, mouths and silent screams. One face he recognized instantly. Alex, not alive, not dead, just suspended. Like the earth itself was digesting him slowly. No, God," Miller gasped. A hand shot out from the soil and grabbed his ankle. He fell hard onto the pulsing floor. The house shook, chairs sliding, windows cracking, walls expanding outward like lungs inflating. The soil rose up, forming a shape above him. A towering figure made of dirt, bone, shadows, and stolen faces. It leaned in. And beneath the grinding of shifting earth, the deputy heard the truth. A voice layered with thousands of trapped whispers. "I am older than forests, older than rivers. I sleep beneath your towns. You build your homes on my back." The shadow rose higher. "I do not hunt, I wait, and the houses you enter are my mouths." Miller screamed as the floor swallowed him. His radio fell beside him, crackling with the last thing he ever heard from the living world. "Ayler, Miller, do you copy?" Then silence. The final twist the next morning. Whitney Road looked normal, calm, quiet, nothing out of place, except for one detail. The house was gone. In its place was an empty patch of grass, perfectly untouched. And later that afternoon, a real estate listing appeared online. 3-bedroom home, newly available, quiet neighborhood, rare, find perfect for families, move-in ready. No photos, just a map pen. Anyone who clicked it saw only this message: a witness is required, because the house wasn't gone. It had simply moved on, waiting for its next visitor. And the giant beneath Oregon, it was awake now, and hungry.